It is so good to be with you. So good to be with you. And first things first, a word of sincere thanks to all of you for your kind messages of condolence and sympathy, and of course, promise of prayers, the occasion of the death of my father this week. Very deeply appreciated by me and by my family, and I can tell you that certainly your prayers helped and continue to help a great deal. So thanks so much. But above all, thank you so much for making the time to come together this evening for this Archbishop's dinner. Now, we've advertised this as inaugural. It's not a one-off. We want to do this annually. And the reason, to put it simply, is that this is what Catholics do. We are a people who gather. The church is a communion, and members of that community don't live apart from one another. They come together. And normally, of course, this coming together happens at our great family feast that we call the Eucharist, the Mass. Tonight's gathering is motivated by that simple desire to be together, to enjoy one another's company, and in particular to celebrate the extraordinary blessings that God has bestowed upon this local church that we call the Archdiocese of Edmonton for so many years, to give thanks to God for that. We're members of the beautiful church that we call Catholic, and we are extraordinarily blessed to be members of that local church here in the Archdiocese of Edmonton. So we're calling tonight's dinner a grateful gathering, and we do have much for which to be grateful. In my remarks to you this evening, I'd like to share with you the many reasons I'm grateful for this local church, and there are many. But as I do, I invite you to think along the same lines. What are you grateful for? What do you see as God's blessings being poured out upon you, in your parishes, in your families, in your schools, hospitals, social service agencies, ecclesial movements, and so on? Tonight is one occasion to give thanks, but obviously we want to do this on a daily basis. Now, for myself, I'll share with you my reasons for gratitude by taking a look, brief obviously, at our past, our present, and our future. And in each context, motives for giving thanks to God are many indeed. So let's take a look back. Last week, I attended the annual meeting of the Bishops of Canada. We hold it in Cornwall, Ontario, a town situated along the beautiful St. Lawrence River. That's about 1 hour from Montreal. And as I walked one day along that river, I found myself thinking that it was from Montreal and from that region that men and women missionaries set out to come west, traveling great distances along the St. Lawrence and overland as well. Their travel conditions would have been brutal, far worse than the cramped quarters of modern airliners that we like to complain about. And moreover, they did not know exactly where they would end up, what conditions they would find when they got there, whether they would have any kind of residence, and what resources would be at their disposal. Tonight, we can look out from the Edmonton Convention Centre upon a vibrant and a growing city, knowing we've got an extraordinary wealth of resources at our fingertips for the furtherance of the church's mission. But the missionaries long before us would have set their gaze upon a vast and an undeveloped landscape, with little for resources other than what they were able to bring with them. And even though in one sense they had nothing, in another, they had everything. The resource was their faith, their absolute trust in the providence of Almighty God. And that faith furnished them with the conviction that if God had sent them here to preach the gospel and establish the church, He would surely provide whatever would be necessary as it was needed. The depth of their faith and the heroism with which they applied their labors to the tasks at hand, in my view, are breathtaking. And that faith was not misplaced. Through the tireless efforts of Bishop Grandin, Father Lacombe, Archbishop Legal, Father Leduc, and the other great oblates for whom many towns in this province have been named, and because of the selfless dedication of communities of religious women caring for people in very demanding circumstances, the foundations of the church in Western Canada were laid. From the seeds of faith they planted in the soil of people's hearts grew our parishes, our schools, hospitals, agencies of social outreach. And it's not only the church that recognizes and gives thanks for the missionaries who gave us our foundations. Our province has recognized their contribution to the common good of the whole population, doing so with a beautiful bronze statue of a nun situated on the grounds of our provincial legislature. And I'd like to focus on one particular feature of that statue. On the sister's face, one can detect what I understand was actually a flaw in the bronze as it set, but a flaw which providentially recapitulates in symbol the motivation behind all the heroic good work of those religious sisters and priests. That flaw actually appears as a tear on the cheek of the sister. It's a tear of profound compassion. It gives expression to the heart's reaction to the suffering that our forebears would have encountered among the people they were sent to serve. But it also expresses the heart's resolve to respond to that hardship with the love of Christ. And that tear explains something to me that I have long intuited about this archdiocese. From the time of my arrival, I realized that I had come to what is truly among the most dynamic dioceses of this country. And the tear explains it. This is a local church founded by missionaries, and it has remained a missionary community. There's a desire to serve, to address the many problems that we face with the truth and hope of the gospel. When challenges are before us, we don't wring our hands in despair, but we ask, what are we going to do about this? How are we going to respond? And the reason is that tear. The tear on the face of the sister actually resides deep in the hearts of the people of this archdiocese. I want to highlight this because our dinner this evening is taking place at the beginning of what Pope Francis is designated as Extraordinary Mission Month, the month of October. Its theme is baptized and sent. And that's a major, major emphasis of Pope Francis whenever he speaks. He wants us to accept and own the fact that by virtue of our baptism, we're sent, we're missionary. We're a missionary people, a missionary church. So our memory of our missionary ancestors is not just a grateful retrospective. It's also a reminder of who we are now in virtue of our baptism as followers of Jesus Christ. We're a people permanently on mission. Which brings me to the present. In our day, I'm seeing many reasons to be grateful to God for all that the people of this archdiocese are doing daily to live out their missionary call. We're extraordinarily blessed here in this archdiocese, and I'd like to spell that out a little bit. We have in the Archdiocese of Edmonton 124 parishes and missions, served by 153 priests, celebrating Mass in at least 14 different languages. It's a cosmopolitan church now, in which the universal church is on visible and vibrant display. I've just about completed a round of pastoral visits to all the parishes, and in the course of a visit, I'll obviously celebrate the Eucharist, I'll have a town hall with the parishioners, meet with pastoral staff, pastoral council, sometimes other groups, and I eat, and I eat, and I eat. Lots of good cooks here in this archdiocese. But it's very, very edifying for me as the Archbishop to see the good work that's being done by our priests and deacons and all the faithful. Of course, we're not without our challenges, both temporal and pastoral. We're not without our concerns and our worries, pertaining not only to our families and the local parish, but also to society generally and indeed to the global church. But among those I'm meeting, the faith is strong. We know that at the end of the day, this is the Lord's church. Jesus is firmly established by the Father as the church's head. He does not abandon us. He's with us. And he knows what he's doing. We can never forget that. That's the faith that animated our missionary ancestors, and it's the faith that I'm encountering in many, many people today. In the accompaniment of parishes and outreach to our society, the Archbishop of Edmonton has long been supported by an extraordinary group of disciples at what we now call our pastoral and administration offices. Their dedication to the Lord, His gospel, and to His church is really wonderful. Their ministry includes a wide breadth of pastoral and temporal services, which together show very clearly the embrace by these good men and women of the missionary task incumbent upon us all in virtue of our baptism. I'm deeply grateful for them, and I'm really proud of their good work. Mission is also what animates our schools. In this archdiocese, we have 10 school districts and over 200 Catholic schools, educating more than 86,000 students. I'm slowly but surely getting to visit all of those schools as well, and when I do, I'll meet with administrators, teachers, and of course with the students. And that is a joy. In fact, it's in meeting the students that I become the student. I learn from them. And I remember one encounter with a young student whereby I was taught by him what the essence of the mission of the church is within our schools. I was invited to one of our inner city schools in Edmonton, and I was asked to be there early when the students arrived. So I was walking through the schools as they were getting off the bus and coming into the school. At one point I'm walking down a corridor, and as they're coming in, there was this one young boy. I found out later he was grade 4. He was coming down the other corridor. We met at the corner. He spied me, stopped short, skid marks on the floor. The jaw drops. He looks at me, he says, "Oh my God, you're actually real." Now, I thought about that afterward. And what we do in our schools is, in fact, to teach them that Jesus is real. He's not just a picture that they might see at the entrance or a figure carved on the crucifix on the classroom wall. He's a real person who wants to be really encountered and who therefore is really proclaimed in our schools through the permeation of the faith in all curricular and extracurricular activity. Sure, we've got challenges, but from my personal visits to the schools, I can say that I'm very proud of the work that our teachers, administrators, and staff do to teach our kids, to witness before them, and make sure that our schools live up to their Catholic identity. Our educational mission also embraces post-secondary institutions here in the Archdiocese. Nearly 100 years ago, Archbishop O'Leary, in close collaboration with the president of the University of Alberta, founded St. Joseph's College. It's still going strong in the capable hands of the Basilian Fathers, and it's governed by an exceptionally capable board that I'm privileged to chair. Now, in these days, when even the word faith is anathema in many university settings, St. Joseph's College offers a place where faith can not only be discussed, but also where students are helped to grow in it. It's a real gem. And 50 years ago, Archbishop Jordan founded Newman Theological College, a place where seminarians and lay students alike are prepared for ministry in the church. As the college celebrates this year its Golden Jubilee, it also rejoices in the canonization next week of the great theologian after whom it is named, John Henry Cardinal Newman. Now, there are two expressions associated with Cardinal Newman that I think express well the origin and the direction of what we would call the intellectual mission, but I think these are expressions that would be pertain to all of us too. His motto was cor et cor loquitur, heart speaks to heart. So from the depths of personal encounter with the living God, heart speaking to heart, the call to discipleship and mission arises. And his epitaph was ex umbris et imaginibus in veritatem, from shadows and images into truth. The human being needs truth. Moral relativism, banal chatter, and the tyranny of the tweet are keeping people in the shadows. We all need the light of truth, which is the gospel. And the college, named after this great theologian, is dedicated to sending its graduates out to preach it. We are grateful to God for these two wonderful colleges, and we're justifiably proud of the ministry that they exercise. And speaking of proud, that's how I feel also when I think of our Catholic hospitals and healthcare institutions. The covenant family, covenant health, covenant care, covenant living, comprises one of Canada's largest Catholic healthcare providers. Today, our Catholic healthcare teams, numbering over 15,000 people, welcome 1 in 5 babies born in Alberta and care for 1 in 10 people who seek emergency care. Operating many of the province's hospices and seniors' care centers, our Catholic organizations offer compassionate care to thousands of elderly seniors and individuals nearing end of life. I'm privileged to sit on the operational board of Covenant Health, and thus I am eyewitness to the extraordinary skill and dedication with which our Catholic hospitals are both governed and administered. I also chair the board of the sponsor organization, Catholic Health of Alberta, which has responsibility for ensuring that Covenant remains always faithful to its Catholic identity. And on this point in particular, the Archdiocese has every reason to be proud of our hospitals. You know that over the last few years, since the legalization of assisted suicide and euthanasia, there has been tremendous pressure from media and other organizations to have these immoral procedures take place in our hospitals. From the outset, Covenant has been crystal clear that the answer is and always will be a resounding no. We're Catholic. We make no apology for that, and we will simply not tolerate anything that runs counter to our Catholic mission and our identity. Covenant has also been taking Now, by the way, next week is Catholic Healthcare Week, celebrated across Canada, so be sure to offer a prayer of thanks for our healthcare institutions. Now, one cannot speak of the missionary nature of this archdiocese without having Catholic social services come instantly to mind. CSS is Alberta's largest multifunction social service agency and one of the largest social service agencies in the country. It serves more than 20,000 vulnerable Albertans every year. Here too, I do site visits, and here too, I find that tear on the face of the sister showing up on my own. Just think of the many women in a situation of crisis pregnancy who find companionship and support at the Jana Center, or of young people with their moms who have fled abusive home environments and who find refuge in one of CSS's shelters, or of young people needing help to deal with FASD, or street youth who receive residential or outreach support through the Safe House program, or of refugee families who for the first time in a long, long while feel safe in our welcome centers, or of homeless persons recently housed by the city's efforts and now surrounded with support from CSS's Welcome Home program. All of these situations and more, all these situations of suffering cannot fail to break the heart. And yet at the same time, the heart gives thanks to God that the 1,800 staff and 500 volunteers of Catholic Social Services are there for them as a sign of hope. Their hearts too must break. But in spite of that, or perhaps precisely because of that, they're there for the people that they serve, and I'm very grateful. A significant portion of the refugee settlement ministry is carried out in partnership with many of our parishes who have, with extraordinary generosity, sponsored families to come to this part of Canada. We have with us this evening representatives of some of the families who have been sponsored by St. Thomas More Parish, people who have come to us from the countries of Syria and Iraq, and who, I understand, have just recently received Canadian citizenship. Stand up for us. All right, stand up. Welcome. The Archdiocese continues to be blessed with the presence and ministry of religious women and men. We have 27 communities of religious sisters whose members serve in a variety of roles, from teaching at a Catholic school or college, to operating a daycare, to providing pastoral assistance in a parish, to offering spiritual direction, leading retreats, and of course, to praying daily for all of us. Sisters, don't stop. We need that. 12 communities of men religious. 12 communities of men religious service as pastors, chaplains, and teachers. Consecrated women and men have long been associated with the missionary work of the church, and I'm grateful that they embrace that missionary call here in our archdiocese. There's so much more that can be said about the present. Think of the wonderful associations of lay people that shape the life of this local church. CWL, which began here in Edmonton, by the way. We have, Edmonton gets head start on a lot of things. Knights of Columbus, Couples for Christ. We have St. Vincent de Paul, Marian Center, Engaged Encounter, Retrovite, Teams of Our Lady, League of Mary, Families of Nazareth. I could go on, there's nearly 30 in all. This is yet another sign of the vibrancy for mission with which God has blessed our archdiocese. Together, parishes, pastoral offices, institutions, lay associations, ecclesial movements, together, by God's grace, we are forming a tremendous force for good. And we are glad to be able to share that with the people of this city and of this province. And as we look upon the extraordinary blessings that we have been given in the past, that we continue to enjoy here in the future, that gives us every reason to look forward in great hope to God accomplishing even greater works in our future. So now let's take a look at the future that lies before us. And as a point of reference, I draw your attention to the chapel doors of St. Joseph's Seminary. There we see in artistic design a rendition of the Gospel of Luke chapter 5, which recounts Jesus calling his first disciples to cast out into deep waters and put down their nets for a catch. So here's the background. In 2001, St. John Paul II issued a letter to the church called Novo Millennio in Eunte, as the new millennium dawns. And he was setting out his vision for the mission of the church as she entered this new era of history. That mission, he said, is captured in the command of Christ, Duc in altum, put out into the deep. Now, St. Joseph's Seminary was among the first seminaries to be built in the new millennium. So when the designers asked what I wanted depicted on the doors of the chapel, I didn't hesitate. Men preparing for priesthood are being made ready for the great adventure of evangelizing, or of putting out into the deep waters of our day with the truth, beauty, and joy of the gospel. By the way, the Archdiocese now has 16 seminarians discerning their call from the Lord. That's the highest number we've had in a long, long time. And they're all from our own parishes. Good work. Keep praying. It's good. We thank God for this blessing, and we continue to pray that God will pour out upon us an even greater abundance of vocations to priesthood and consecrated life. If we pray for that earnestly, devotedly, God will answer. But of course, the call to put out into the deep is incumbent not only upon our priests, it comes to all of us who form part of this church dedicated to mission. This means that we need to identify the deep waters of our day and ask how we can best launch out into them. So allow me to share with you some key initiatives that are close to my heart that I believe will enable us to do just that. The first is what we are calling the Mission Collaboration Initiative. Under this endeavor, we will bring together not only representatives of our Catholic parishes and institutions, but also Catholic experts from a variety of fields. The goal is twofold. First, to engage in careful environmental scanning of what is unfolding in the deep waters of media, politics, popular culture, law, art, science, technology, social sciences, and so on. And second, to discern best how to respond to what is happening with the beauty and truth of the gospel, or even proactively participating in shaping society's response to all of these new developments with the insight of the truth that comes to us from Jesus Christ. The second initiative comprises efforts toward a renewed relationship with the Indigenous peoples of the Archdiocese. We are deeply honored to have with us this evening many chiefs, elders, and leaders from the First Nations present in this Archdiocese and the Métis Nation of Alberta. Walking together with the Indigenous peoples is a major priority for the bishops of Canada, and it is something that has come to occupy a special place in my own heart. And central to everything that we will do in this regard will be the lifting up and the promotion of the gifts that the Indigenous peoples have to share with the rest of society. They have much to teach us about how we in Canadian society can learn to live together and respect one another. Reverence for the Creator, respecting the land as God's gift, listening with patience to the stories of the other. These have become lost to Western culture, and we need to learn them again. The Indigenous peoples will show us the way. And finally, the call to put out into the deep cannot ignore youth culture. Our young people are our greatest treasure. Here I bring one especially important initiative to your attention: the revitalization of our camps. Camp ministry has had a long and cherished history here in the Archdiocese. Due to declining revenues and a weakened and at times dangerous infrastructure, I placed camp operations on a moratorium until we could figure out what needs to be done. Surveys of stakeholders demonstrated to me a very lively interest in the ongoing use of our camps. I'm actually putting that mildly, because our camps have played a truly life-shaping and at times life-changing role in the lives of young people who have participated in their programming. And in a couple of minutes, you're going to get a look at some of the testimonies in the next video. So we formed a few committees at the Archdiocese to propose to me a business plan for the renewal of the camps. The plan envisions an eventual return over the next few years to the full use of both camps, and a timeline of what needs to happen when and at what cost will be presented to the Archdiocese by the end of October. The fulfillment of the plan will depend entirely upon any funds that we're able to raise from donors. This is why we've chosen to designate at this dinner our archdiocesan camps as the charity to which we invite any donation that you might wish to make either this evening or at a later date. So for your generosity, many, many thanks. Now I'll conclude tonight by sharing with you a moment that impacted me greatly when I first became a bishop, and which has since helped shape my own thoughts around the missionary activity of the church. That moment was a question that was posed to me when I was 1 month old as a bishop, and the venue was World Youth Days in Toronto. That was my first experience of those enormous gatherings. And what I noticed and what moved me deeply was the way in which the hundreds of thousands of young people gathered there were deeply grappling with the serious existential questions of life. So at a certain moment, a young couple approached me. And they said, "Are you a bishop?" I said, "Well, yes, matter of fact, I am a bishop." And they said, "Well, okay, good, we've got a question." And I thought, wow, 1 month old, and already I have a chance to make a life-changing intervention in the life of this young couple. So I said, "Yes, what's your question?" "That little purple thing that you wear on your head, how do you get it to stay on?" What's the answer? I'm getting the question. I don't know yet. But as you might have guessed, that wasn't the moment of greatest impact, except perhaps on my pride. What did strike me was another question. And this one was posed to all the participants by St. John Paul II during a prayer vigil the evening before the closing Mass. reflecting upon the vast changes sweeping across cultures and nations, he asked this question: on what foundations, on what certainties should we build our lives and the life of the community to which we belong? On what foundations, on what certainties? And then he gave the answer. Christ alone is the cornerstone on which it is possible solidly to build one's existence. Only Christ, he said, known, contemplated, and loved, is the faithful friend who never lets us down, who becomes our traveling companion, and whose words warm our hearts. Only Christ. A century and a half ago, motivated by that same conviction, the first missionaries came to our land and they laid down the foundations of both church and society. Now we, the missionaries of today, are also called to foundational work, namely to recover the moral foundations that ground our lives as individuals, families, and province, and to underpin them with real hope. And for that to happen, what is asked of us is both simple and challenging. We must become fully what we are. We must be Catholic. This means a joyful proclamation in word and deed of Jesus Christ as the only secure cornerstone of life. Jesus Christ known, contemplated, and loved. And it means a full embrace of our call in him to be holy, to be a communion, and to be missionary. By being fully the Catholics that God has called and made us to be, we who have received a beautiful missionary legacy will make one of our own to hand on to future generations. That's our call right now. It's a beautiful thing to be a Catholic. It's especially beautiful to live out that Catholic identity here in the Archdiocese of Edmonton. Thank you for all that you do in service to the Lord and to the mission that he has given to this beautiful church. Thanks. God bless you all.